where I left off on the other device. I had something going on. So, needless to say, this man who murdered his ex girlfriend and his ex wife, when he barged in after he had murdered his ex girlfriend and was bragging on Facebook about doing it, he ran to the door of his ex wife. Meanwhile, two children in the car while he's running into the ex-wife's door saying, "This is the day." He tells her this is the day, which means he had threatened her life before. So I would venture to say there's probably a restraining order on him somewhere. And for the men that are getting on YouTube saying that he's the victim, he's no victim. He's absolutely no victim. The victims are the children, the ex-girlfriend, and the mother or the ex-wife of those children. And to sit and say that, oh, poor him, he paid child support. This is a man who made probably between $150,000 and $180,000 a year, okay? And the way that the ex-wife looked like she looked like she was living in a townhouse or an apartment. She was not living in the lap of luxury. And meanwhile, the background, what it shows is that the ex-wife worked in the hospital as well, the medical field. So she also was a professional, and so was the ex-girlfriend. So they weren't trying to extort money from him. Okay? Like the narrative is they're trying to play out on these two women. But the truth of the matter is we're never going to know what was the full details of the truth, because we only got one side of the story, which was his before he murdered two people and then killed himself on a Facebook Live. So you're only hearing one side of the story. So the other two the other two sides of the story we'll never get to hear. We'll never get to hear. We will not get to hear from the ex-wife of what happened, why there was a custody battle for 3 years, aside from what he said. We're never going to hear from the ex-girlfriend when he claims that she said she would keep the kids from him. We'll never get to hear from her side, but I can almost read between the lines and know that a man who barges into his ex-wife's house and says today is the day, meaning that is a threat that he decided to keep in murdering her, I can almost venture to say this is a man who threatened his ex-girlfriend, which is why she would say what she would say, and why, with him having a violent nature, clearly he has a violent nature. The proof is in the pudding. His nature is very violent. I would venture to say that, yeah, the ex-wife wanted to keep the kids from him because he is a detriment to himself, to her, and to the children. He's violent. And any sane mother would keep her children from that. They would not put their children, any good mother with a moral standing would never put her children in harm's way like that. This is a man who is clearly mentally ill. And it's not like he did not have the resources to get help. It sounded like he didn't want to get help. From the words that he was speaking on that Facebook Live, he sounded desperate. I wish I knew. I hope that we hear from family members of the two ladies that were victimized by him, and people who were in the know of what happened. Hopefully people that these two ladies confided in will come forward, because it's unfortunate to hear one side from a man who is clearly violent tell his story, and we have not and will never be able to hear the story of those two women that he murdered. Anybody defending this man, you need to go and get yourself checked out too, because something is mentally wrong with you. If you condone what this man did and think that that was okay, something's wrong with the way you think. You need help. You need a psychiatrist. You need a mental professional to help you if you think that that was okay, because it was not.